Good afternoon, year six. I hope you're well and have had good weekends. Today in our RE session, we're moving on from our unit relating to the Quran and the importance of it to people who are Muslims. We're going to start thinking about recognizing that people can experience faith and express faith in ways that involve their emotions and their feelings. Okay, so people use different ways of expressing their faith. To be successful in today's session, we're going to revisit where people worship, so that we can just make sure we're clear on those locations for people's expressions of their faith. We're going to recall what we mean by the word faith, and then we're going to consider ways in which people express faith, and we're going to try and express ourselves, whether we are somebody of a faith or somebody who just wants to do some expressing. Okay, guys. So to begin with today, I'd like you to think about which of these which of these blue descriptors goes with the rest of the sentence. So, what did you worship in a gurdwara, in a synagogue, in a mosque? Where did you work? Okay. Uh, what did Jews do when they? What did Jews do? Sorry, what did Jews do when they visit a synagogue? Which day of the week do they go? Where do Muslims go? So you can see you're trying to match these words up. Okay, so which blue phrase goes with which orange phrase? Okay, so they're the first set of your sections. You can either draw lines or you can write letters to remind, or you can copy them out if you fancy copying them out. But basically, this is the first element of your worksheet, just to revisit which places of worship are relevant for which faiths. Now, faith then is it's a really difficult thing to exactly put your finger on what it means. So, define it, it's a strong belief in the doctrines, so the rules of a religion, based on it's this thing we looked at in reading, the difference between opinion and fact. And faith is a particularly tricky one to put your finger on. For somebody such as me, who's not a person of faith, it sometimes feels a bit confusing to make it so that it's like a fact. So it's confusing. But it's for it's this idea of a spiritual conviction, which means it's something that absolutely is a belief to this person, but can't exactly be proved to somebody who doesn't believe it. So it's quite tricky to explain to a non-believer. But somebody who has faith can't understand sometimes how somebody cannot have faith, because that person has this strong belief. So it's a tricky thing to put your finger on. It stems from the word faith, stems from the Latin again, as lots of our words do, fidem, which links to fidere, which is to trust. Fidelity is to trust. Fidelity is the idea of trust. And faith and trust are very linked. I couldn't think of a great image to show singular face, because I didn't want to exclude any other face. Interestingly, at places such as hospitals where people go if they're poorly, or if they need help, um, they have multi-faith rooms. So whereas we have places of worship that we looked at in the previous slide for individual faiths, at a hospital they tend to have one location, or maybe two or three, but they have singular locations which are shared between multiple faiths. Okay, so there's not necessarily just a single room for a single faith there. Synonyms then for faith might be something like trust, might be belief. An antonym might be words like disbelief or non-believing. And the man's faith, if we think to our work in World War One, the man's faith gave him strength when he lay in the trenches. So if somebody believed that if they were to be killed, or if they were to experience pain, that there was somebody to look after them, who was this omnipotent being such as God, then they might feel belief. They might feel okay. Whereas if somebody, again, such as myself, doesn't have faith, they might be more scared. So their faith sometimes gives somebody greater strength to face some obstacles that they're faced with. Think about emotions then. There's lots of different ways, aren't there? How many ways of showing emotions are there? There's so many. There's so many different ways. And what you can do, you can look. I mean, if you're thinking about the videos at the moment, you could look at my face to see how I'm feeling. Okay. You could also look at my physicality. So if I'm doing that, am I happy? How am I feeling then? You get the impression from body language, from physical appearance of faces, so from words as well. There's lots of different ways. Can you think of any apart from what people say and what people's face shows and what people's bodies do? What else shows how someone is feeling? Well, if I felt angry, if I felt fear, if I felt joy, contentment, or excitement, all of these are emotions: anger, fear, joy, contentment, excitement. All of these feelings. And interestingly, I think certainly the bottom three, possibly a little bit of the second one of fear, but certainly joy, contentment, and excitement are all emotions I'm feeling about the idea of us coming back to school. I feel a little bit fearful because I'm worried about how I can help you best, and I'm worried about how it will feel. And I'm still a bit worried about the world we're living in because of coronavirus. I don't feel angry though. I feel really excited about having you all back, and I can't wait to see you all. But how I show that is interesting, isn't it? It might be my words, it might be my face, it might be my hands. You could use facial language, facial expression, body language, tone of voice. But are some of them just for any? No. All emotion can be shown in all different ways, all the different ways. If I speak like this, it doesn't make it sound like I'm content. Tone of voice, then sometimes it demonstrates how somebody's feeling. And people have different ways of expressing their feelings, as well as people of faith. Some people express how they feel by writing things down. I like reading. I don't particularly like writing as a way of expressing myself, but I know some of you really enjoy writing stories and poetry, and it's great how you've been attacking our World War One poetry. Other people, and I'm thinking of Chloe, I'm thinking of Malia, I'm thinking of lots of you, like to paint pictures. It might be something you like doing because you're good at it, but it also might be a way that even if you didn't want to show it to anybody, it was a way of reflecting on how you're feeling yourself. Some people might be artistic, and I know that Malia likes making her dresses, and I know some people like to create sculptures, so they might use clay, they might use other materials. Some people might be much more rhythmic than me and put a dance together. And I know year six, you worked on that fantastic dance earlier in the year. And if you were doing it on your own, you might put different moves in. Kyron, some of the steps that you were showing with the year sixes earlier in the year were fantastic. Some people, obviously, both as musicians or just as writers, like to write songs to express themselves. So there's lots of different ways individuals show how they feel. Now, some of these are used by religious people as well. Why don't they just go to their place of worship and pray? Why do they express their faith in these ways as well? One of my best friends is a person who's a Christian, and he loves to be part of church bands. That's part of his expression. Why would he do that? Why wouldn't he just go and pray? What do you think? For me, I think it's about him celebrating his faith. I think it's him showing that he's not just aware of it, but he's proud of it and he loves it and he wants to share it with others. What do you think? Okay, there's lots of different reasons why people express them through art. What we call the arts is that making things such as design and technology and art, and also music and things like that, and dance. Some people, it's their way of being themselves and their way of showing their connection with the faith that they're part of. Others just want to show other people what they feel about their God. It's a way of celebrating their faith so that other people know about it. Um, for lots of people, it's just to show that they feel part of the world and that their relationship with God is something that they want to celebrate. So lots of people have different reasons for expressing things in different ways. There any time you've just been like, I don't have the words. So my youngest daughter at the moment, she doesn't have much of a vocabulary because she's only two. She gets really frustrated because she can't express herself with words. But I know all of you have great vocabularies, but sometimes I imagine still there's a feeling you can't put into words. It might be a feeling of faith, it might be a feeling of emotion, and how else you could express it. Would it be through painting? Would it be through running? Would it be through dancing? Would it be through singing? How would you express yourself? I'd like you to have a think about that. Today, what I'm going to ask you to do, as well as matching up those key points relating to which faith goes to which place of worship, I'd also like you to look at the second key. And I'd like you to think about either writing a poem, forget about the World War ones for now, just write something for yourself. Maybe do a dance, maybe do a mime, a little bit of action. I'm sure you could do something very exciting, boys. I'm thinking, I just can't get my head. I think it was you, Karen, who did lots of steps like this, but I'm imagining that Nathan had put together some very, very fancy dance steps for a mime as well. Could you write a song and maybe even perform it for us? Could you draw a picture or maybe do a painting? And one of these emotions that we're going to sometimes we struggle to describe. So pick one of those 9 emotions: anger, fear, sadness, happiness, excitement, nervousness, contentment, satisfaction, or jealousy, and then perform and film, perform and photo, or paint and produce a piece of artwork, whether it be physical or a visual that we can all see. It'd be great to see something sent in. If you want to do a video, I'd love to tweet some of your videos showing how you're expressing yourselves. I'd really like you to do that. I'd really like to see what you're up to, so that I can know when we get back to see what you've been up to. So show me how you feel about an emotion in a piece of art. Thank you very much for your attention, Year 6. I look forward to seeing you a week today. Bye bye.